Right, so the best thing about the fusion reactor is its footprint. I mean, look at these behemoths. The fission reactors, yeah, they do things, but they're big, they're big. This one here with the same footprint as this fusion reactor is producing 480 megawatts, whereas the fusion reactor is able to produce 3.4 gigawatts. So basically 5 times the power. And this fission reactor that is the 8-banger city block reactor is still only able to produce 1.1 gigawatts, which is good early game, but like look at this. It's just so compact. Anyways, so here we have a couple reactors set up for you. This is an Aquilo one that I'll have in the description. This one I used myself on Aquilo. It's great, but it's not quite as good as this one, which I might use on somewhere like Vulcanus, where I don't have to heat everything, because it's just a little bit better. It's set up to ratio. So how do these things even work? Well, if we look over here, you can see that I've set up the most basic fusion reactor setup possible. So these things here are going to get a neighborhood bonus if they are connected, and they can be connected by fluid or like by the liquid, or they can be connected by the plasma. It doesn't matter, which is kind of nice. And so, I mean, you could do something like this, but they pass the plasma through, right? So they're going to take the fusion power cells and they're going to take the fluoroketone acid, I guess cold fluoroketone, it's not acid maybe, but they're going to take that and they're going to produce plasma, and then the plasma goes in these fusion generators, which can only take it in from the bottom and then output it on the sides or the top. So you could connect another one here, you could connect another 2 there. And this is actually the pattern that I use the most. So just a little bit of a side note then, if you were to say do something like this is something I would do often, and this can be then repeated as well. So you could do something like this, and then you could continue to repeat that pattern, something like this, and you could kind of offset it, continue to repeat that pattern. If you have a larger setup like this, you can see that pattern is very much used. You got 2 beside each other and they're connecting to the side. Anyways, so the plasma goes through these things and it's consumed, and then it's ejecting the hot fluoroketone acid. I don't know why I keep calling it. Anyways, and then it goes into a cryogenic plant where you have to cool it down and put it back in the system. And it doesn't consume any of the fluoroketone liquid, but it just makes it hot, and then you have to make it cold again. So once you've injected the system with the enough fluoroketone, then it'll just keep going forever as long as you give it some fusion power cells. So that's great. Let's see if we could figure out how, well, this one here, you can take a look at this has 5 around it. So if you look at the neighborhood bonus right now, it's basically maxing out at 500% neighborhood bonus, which gives it a total of 600 megawatts. So if you look at this here and you think, well, this one's got 5 neighbors, this one's got 5 neighbors, that's 2 at 600 megawatts. So 600 megawatts plus 600 megawatts. Then these 2 each have 4 around them, the ones in the middle sides. So that's going to be 400%, that's 500 megawatts. So then we have 2 at 500 megawatts. And then we have these 4 with 2 neighbors, which are going to give it 300 megawatts each. So then 4 times 3 is 1200 megawatts. So we'll just simplify that to 3400 megawatts that this plant could potentially produce. And then because each of these fusion generators is able to consume 50 megawatts, then of course we can just divide that by 50 and we get how many fusion generators that we need. And of course there is 68 here, and then you need to be able to consume
cool,
2 of the hot fluid into the mouth fusion generator. So if there's 68 if there's 68 of the fusion generators, then multiply that by 2, we need to be able to consume 136 of the hot fluid. And so if I look at these 4, they are consuming 137, so they can keep up. And of course, like I said, you have to inject it at first. So this is what you would do. I would, just unbarrel it, inject it into the system, get it about 90% full, sure, somewhere around there. It doesn't really matter as long as each of these reactors has their 1,000 in it, and then there's going to be no problem.